Hi, I'm MH Lines. Over the course of my career, I've hired more than 100 marketing operations professionals. One of my favorite interview questions to see if someone's really been in the marketing operations trenches is to ask them about their biggest marketing operations fail. Whether it's from complexity, simple human error, or technology outages, mistakes happen to every single one of us, and they happen a lot more than we want to admit. That's actually the reason I founded Stack Moxie. We help people find problems and fix them faster and make sure they never come back. It's also the reason the team at Stack Moxie and I are really excited and proud to be a sponsor of MOOPs TV by MOPs. I love that we can come together as a community and get better together as a community.
It might seem counterintuitive, but a failure, especially on a big stage, is an incredible opportunity for you to showcase your leadership chops. I hope you enjoy MOOPs TV.
MOOPs. So, Mike, you want to start by telling us who you are, a little bit about you, like where you work, and how long you've been in marketing and revenue ops.
Yeah, so my name is Mike Rizzo. I am the founder of MOPs, the community for marketing operations professionals. I'm also working on a stealth mode product right now, so I'm pretty excited about that. I have been in marketing operations for over 10 years now. I would say somewhere closer to 15, maybe.
Nice. One of the originals, it seems like.
Yeah, at least, I go pretty far back. We're talking like, Act On. I did the Act On thing. I did the Pardot before it was a part of Salesforce thing.
Did you ever work in Silverpop?
I never did. I never worked in Silverpop, but I wanted to.
So knowing that we're going to be talking about key MOOPs in your career, when in your career did the MOOPs that you're going to chat with me about today happen?
This MOOPs happened earlier in my career. I would say it probably happened 3 or 4 years in, though I'm sure there were others that happened prior to that and have certainly happened after. But this particular one happened about 3 or 4 years into my career.
Nice. So you were a seasoned pro at that point.
Yeah. Well, in marketing operations, we definitely feel like we're seasoned after just a couple of years.
Somewhere like along the peak of the Dunning-Kruger graph of like, I know everything.
Right.
At
yeah.
least.
At least I feel like I know everything. Yeah,
Just getting straight into it and going to start with the hard-hitting stuff right away. What were you trying to do?
So I was preparing what was an email campaign. Now that I think about it, it was an email campaign specifically to registered members from a webinar. So we had done a webinar like any other marketing ops person. We were then taking the registrants list and then doing the follow-up email. I think I was parsing out like who attended versus who didn't and changing some language and all that stuff. But just trying to get that follow-up email out the door.
And knowing that you worked in some contemporary systems and some dinosaurs, what system were you working in at the time?
At that time, we were actually still using HubSpot. I had started my first startup gig, and we were using HubSpot as the platform.
Nice.
We were integrated to Salesforce as well.
Was the webinar provider at all involved, or is this totally irrelevant of the webinar provider?
This happens to be, not related to the webinar provider. At the time, webinar provider integrations into any map was still pretty rare and definitely clunky. And so I didn't trust it, but hey, maybe the moves wouldn't happen if I would.
So what was the actual MOOPs?
Yeah, so I think this has happened to everybody. The thing that happened was we got the email all organized. I was parsing out who attended and who didn't, and then I hit send on the email, and I also got the email because, like any good marketing operations person, you list yourself as both, all the types of people if you can. And the link was to the old email. And the reason that happened was because I had cloned an email that was already pre-built. We're all looking to save time. And yeah, so I realized that I was literally sending someone to a webinar from like a year ago. And yeah, that was not right.
Oops.
Yeah, oops.
So you kind of answered my next question, which is going to be who noticed it, but did anyone else notice it at the same time as you, since you sent yourself a test email, or how did that kind of play out?
Yeah, so like the whole thing was actually all self-fulfilling. I caught the mistake. And what I ended up doing is, reaching out to my management team, and I said, hey, we accidentally sent out the wrong link. We, of course, is me, but I'm going to go ahead and fix it, and I'll send out the corrected link like any good, email would do. And I went ahead and I hit send. I don't know if it was me this time or if it was HubSpot, but I definitely sent the wrong link again.
Oh no.
And I was like, oops, like super, super loud. And I was home. I happened to be working from home that day. And my wife was like, what happened? It's like, I just sent the wrong link in a follow-up email to an email with the wrong link. So it wasn't just one MOOPs, it was a double MOOPs, which is why I was really excited to get this program off the ground. Yeah, so I can laugh about it now, obviously. But
yikes.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I think I've seen a couple of those where the follow-up, like the oopsie daisies email, is also an oopsie daisy, and it's just like kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes.
Where it just keeps spiraling, and then you keep getting panicked, and you're like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, and it's made so much worse when you're the one noticing it, right? Like no one's really even bringing it to your attention. You just know you did the wrong thing. It's like you're just like beating yourself up about it. It's the worst.
So what beyond send yourself the email, what else did you learn by making the same mistake twice in a row?
Yeah. Well, a couple things. One is to always create a process to have other people test your emails, right? Even if you make a mistake, it'd be good to have someone check the follow-up email. And I actually ended up hacking a solution in this case. I was lucky. As I mentioned previously, the link was going to a pretty outdated webinar. And so I put on the marketing ops hat and I said, like, how do you solve this problem without sending yet another email? And I went ahead and did a 301 redirect and just rerouted all the traffic going to the old URL to the new one. And then about 6 months later, I went and like fixed the redirect to let them go back to their old destination in the like strange event that somebody saved an email for like a year and wanted to go to that thing. So, I was able to remedy that situation. But through that kind of remediation process, I went ahead and actually documented this whole experience and then figured out like what were going to be the steps that we needed to execute in order to like send a campaign moving forward. We were a pretty lean and mean team at the startup that I was at the time. And, it's just me and a couple of other folks. Like our team was like 3 marketers, and really the other 2 were they're focused on demand gen activities, right? And then the other one was writing content. So they're not exactly testers by trade, but creating a process for us to follow and then explaining why that was so critical for us to follow moving forward and kind of falling on my sword was exactly what I ended up doing.
I was going to ask about redirects because I've definitely had to put the emergency redirect in place. Not 0 times in my career. Either myself or somebody. I had one a couple of weeks ago where a marketer came to me and we built our pages in Unbounce at Patient Pop, and we sent an email out that was linking to the previous name of the webinar. It was like the back part of the URL, and they said, "Oh no, it's been an hour. Why isn't nobody registered for my webinar?"
Oh yeah.
So there's the quick that link doesn't work. Do we send an oops email or do we just domain redirect real fast? And we went with the latter, and things were pretty smooth. So
yep,
it's a good trick.
Yeah, it's a good hack to keep in your back pocket and always think about how do you solve for this. If it's not an important URL that you're going to, then just temporarily redirect it. You'll be fine.
Yep. So it sounds like you put a huge process in place, at least at that company and that role and that team. Have you made the same mistake since?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I sent the wrong link out in Slack the other day, and I sent another email the other day. Yeah, being a team of one for running all the things in the MoPros community right now, I'm definitely making lots of mistakes, and I am not following my processes at all, but I'm moving pretty fast, and I'm hoping that people will just forgive me. Also, it's just fodder for more episodes. It's really I'll just come and share all the mistakes that I made. Unfortunately, none of those will have outcomes and learnings. Just be me confessing,
That's a whole nother series, just the confessional booth.
Yeah, exactly.
What would you say to the inevitable someone similar who has made the same mistake recently?
I would say just, it's not the end of the world. It definitely, blood pressure goes up, right? Heart palpitations happen. You might start having some cold sweats, but that's all normal. However, if you need to step away for a moment, I would recommend that, or sit down or stand up, whatever makes you feel good. And just lean on your team, especially if there's anybody around you that you can say, hey, I made a mistake. I need to figure this out. I need to talk through this. I think that's really, really important. Had I have had a chance to talk through what I had just made the mistake, with on that email campaign, then I might not have sent the wrong link again. I probably would have verbalized that this button was incorrectly linked, and I would have found it. So at a bare minimum, just try to reach out to folks. Everybody understands it's not the end of the world. Do what you can to remediate it, and then move forward. Shake it off, because you're inevitably going to make another MOOPs.
So beyond that, what other advice do you have for other marketing and RevOps professionals?
I'm going to shamelessly plug to just watch the rest of these MOOPs episodes and learn from other people. But I mean, truthfully, it's create good process. I think process is a 4-letter word at a lot of companies, but in marketing operations, it's operational best practice is to have good process in place. And even if you're a team of one, Mike, you need to try to follow a process, create a checklist. If it's on a whiteboard physically, or if it's on, a project management system, just do what you can, create a process, make it your own too. You can look for inspiration, but everybody's company and all the different steps that you take to get something out the door is different. And so definitely think about which teams will be impacted and just create a good process.
I've said a couple of times to people, the act of making the checklist specifically has helped me not make the same mistake so many times of okay, I'm adding that thing to my checklist or whatever. I think super helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, awesome. Cool. Well, thanks, Mike. Excited to have you on for your next MOOPs.
I'm not. Stop. Knock on wood. Find the wood.
MOOPs.